When you moved from Canada to the United States, you were young, you had no money, you were a stutterer, and started with buying an old Ford. What happened with the young guy when he became extremely wealthy after 6 years?
Well, first of all, I was very, very broke when I first moved from Canada to the United States. And I think in a way I was in pursuit of the American dream. And, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of making other people rich. And I was tired of being broke. And so I moved with nothing. I'd seen one of those late night infomercial on TVs about how to get rich. And unfortunately, what they sort of tell you on TV doesn't necessarily work like in the reality of it. But I took a chance. I moved to America with an old pickup truck with 320,000 kilometers. I ate those ramen noodles. I drank the Kool-Aid every day. I showered at the gym. And it was just about getting that first deal done. And I think everyone told me I would never make it. I mean, I was a stutterer. People made fun of me. Everybody says it's never going to work in America. And after 9 months, I was 30 days away from my American dream to be broken down before I had to move back to Canada, which would have been embarrassing. And I did my first deal and made about 50,000 euros, and everything changed from then on.
Your lifestyle is completely different nowadays. But do you still know the price of an entire loaf of bread?
Do I still know what the price of whole bread? See, it doesn't matter how much money that I have. I'm still very frugal because it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. And so I buy 4 loaves of bread for 99 cents. And so, and also, to be honest, I haven't cooked in 10 years. So even if I wanted to, I think I've eaten out. Now, if you ask me how much a foot long at Subway, it's $5. $5 foot subs on Monday, and I pay about $9.82 when I go to Subway. So I've eaten out every single day, I think, for the last 10 years. And so if you're asking for price of milk, I can't remember last time I drank even milk. So it's interesting, but I think it ranges anywhere from 97 to 197. It would be based on the little times I've bought food. I think I've never been asked that question. That's actually brilliant. So now I got to brush up on not only my business skills, but my food prices.
Would you say that you're still down to earth?
Yes, well, yeah, it is. I mean, money hasn't changed me. When you have no money, to be honest, it's all about the money. I mean, you're broke, and they say money doesn't bring happiness. And in a way, I'm very happy because I've had no money. But I think what money does is the ability to have freedom, to do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. And in America, it's a bit different. I do business in about 30 different countries. In America, it's go, 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 work, 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 work. In the Netherlands, what I found is very much about lifestyle and, freedom and lifestyle, as opposed to maybe in America, it's the accumulation of wealth. Very similar, the Netherlands to Canada, where, standards of life and quality of life are far more important, as opposed to America, which just got rated, the workers work harder there than they do anywhere else in the world, weekends and evenings, while Netherlands is the second country in terms behind France in terms of work hours per employees. And, it's whatever makes you happy. I mean, for me, work is not work. I love what I'm doing. I love dealing with the deals. I love helping people. I love coaching people. I love buying companies. I love starting companies. And so it's just about doing what you love.
Does the fact that you're so busy mean you lead a lonely life? For instance, are you seeing someone?
I had a relationship for a while, but of course, I've been home like maybe 11 days this year. Is it lonely? I mean, everywhere I go, people want pictures and autographs, and you're around thousands of people. I remember in China, I had an army of bodyguards with me. India was crazy, the people that were all over me. And I just got out of the airport and I got recognized by 4 people right here at the airport. And so I wouldn't say it's lonely. I think to me, actually, for some people, going out is a luxury and having a good time. And for me, staying at home, that's a luxury because every single second of my day from start to finish is scheduled out. And it's not necessarily about time management. It's about energy management. And so to be completely honest with you, I love my life. I mean, I think one of the greatest gifts I hear from people when they say, JT, thank you for changing my life. And it's not about success, it's about significance. John F. Kennedy talked about, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. So I love helping sick children. I love empowering our youth. I love taking people who want to start a business and had no idea and quit their jobs, or existing businesses who want to change the world. There's a lot of room at the top. and it's the bottom that's crowded. But when you're at the top, there's a lot more scrutiny and a lot more haters and a lot more people attacking you. And that's sort of the downside of success, because there's really nobody who wants you to be happy for your success. I mean, just take a look at the Netherlands. And the first time I got here, I mean, this is going to be my 1 year anniversary at the end of the month here in October. And everyone says, if your head is above the grass, they want to chop it off. And I think that is a true reality here. And the Netherlands needs more heroes, models, and coaches. And you need more people, some of the big business leaders out there, members of the parliament, and to go out there and inspire our youth and to say, hey, there's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with success. And I think people feel that success changes. Success hasn't changed me. In fact, it's probably made me a better person to help more people.
You say success did not change you, but does your family think the same? For example, is your family proud of you?
I mean, it's a tough situation because I've always said, I have 2 younger sisters. They're completely opposite than me. And, to be honest with you, I've never heard my parents say one time that they were proud of me, which initially that was what fueled the fire for me to succeed, that chip on that shoulder. And one of my coaches, Nito, said to me about 2 years ago, because I was still harboring the pain, your whole life, you're a stutterer, people say you're not going to succeed. And so I keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And my coach, Nito, before I went to South Africa for the first time to change that country, he says, don't go to South Africa as the person you are now. Go there as the person you are meant to be. And kind of this whole load on the shoulder kind of came off. And, you can't change people. So I think you either accept the way they are or you choose to not associate with them. So they're my family and I love them. But unfortunately, my parents, I don't think they get it. And not everyone gets it. And I in a way, are they jealous of my success? I don't know. I give them money every month and I say, here's the money. Don't ask me for anything more, anything less. They kind of like the Celine Dion did with her 13 siblings. And then I know I can go to bed at night, but I can't change them. I mean, in a way, I'm the world's #1 wealth coach. And I think my dad is the world's #1 uncoachable person. So it's kind of ironic on that front.
Major brands like Coca-Cola or Google made up new names and they spent a lot of effort in their marketing and branding. We read on the internet that the name GR from Dallas stands for John Ross. The name Fox with 2 X's doesn't exist as a family name on the internet at all. And your initials, GT, everybody calls you GT, are never explained. Is your name really Gt Foxx?
My name is Gt Foxx. It's so funny because I've been writing about this. Everyone keeps saying, listen, you take every look at actors. Tom Cruise's real name's not Tom Cruise. And I can list you another 50 actors, their names are not what they are. And that doesn't seem to be an issue. And for me, it just eats people alive. And so, my passport says Gt Foxx. Now, the initial does stand for something, and I kind of like to leave that personal for my personal life. It's kind of something that, I say, what does JT stand for? And I say, well, I only tell people that I date. But, it's been a point of contention. It's just people trying to find something that's negative. And, it's just the reality of what it is. That's what my passport says, and that's what my driver's license says. And I hate to disappoint people, but my legal name is Gt Foxx. And I don't know. It's just, and I told you the background of my family. So in a way, I don't think we've made the news for anything. So.
Well, the reason we did ask you this is because you're so focused on marketing, branding, etc. So the question remains, is Gt Foxx a brand?
Well, yes. When I first started Gt Foxx, I purposely didn't make it about Gt Foxx because if I'm Gt Foxx and I'm a nobody, then it's not going to matter. And I think there's 2 ways to brand ourselves for people listening: results and success tends to brand things. And now Gt Foxx is a brand. This is a Gt Foxx suit. And I forgot my Gt Foxx tie because every time I wear it, I take it off and I give it to somebody. So I actually didn't have it for this interview. But I have a suits and a tie. And the tie company I got, the tie wasn't selling, and I put my name on there, and suddenly it sells 7 times more than what it was selling before because of the Gt Foxx. So Gt Foxx is a brand. People come all over the world. In fact, a lot of people will argue, there's brand awareness. I'm aware of Pepsi. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to drink it, but I know what Pepsi is. And then there's brand preference. I prefer Coca-Cola, but if there isn't one there and there's a Pepsi, I'll take it. What I've developed in a way all over the world is brand insistence. People insist on doing business with me. They insist on coming to my events all over the world. They insist on, getting me to top shows and top interviews. Same thing with Mr. Trump. People insist on going on a Trump building because they know the value. Take the Trump off the name of a building and that building would be worth 4 times less. It's the power of branding. People buy people, but they also buy brands. And that's why Nike, if there were 2 shoes and one has a swoosh and another one does not, people would pay 15 euros more for the swoosh because it has a swoosh. It's the same shoe. I'm brand loyal to Apple. I'll buy everything that's Apple. I've bought every iPhone. Apple is worth what it's worth today because of the brand. And that's the power. Brand, when you're branded, people pay more. When you're branded, they come back. When they're branded, they tell more people. And I think that's one of the things when I first started doing trainings and doing business here in the Netherlands, I found is that there was no branded. Small business and entrepreneurs did not want to get branded because they think branding is bragging. They think branding is that thing that talks about yourself or it's too American. At the end of the day, if no one knows who you are, they're not going to do business with you.
So Gt Foxx is a brand.
Yes, it is a brand. All you have in this world is your name, your reputation, and your credibility. And I'm proud to say that I upkeep the highest amount of brand, credibility and reputation. But it's not easy. Keeping a brand, you take a look at it. People are looking for ways to poke holes, and they look for ways to not do business with you. They look for ways to find the wrong. When people Google you, they don't see the good. They go, I'm going to Google you to find something wrong so that I can overcome that fear. And it's a weird society we live in. And that's why I'm so protective of my brand. That's why I fight back. And unfortunately, people don't like people that are successful. It's just kind of the reality of the world today. And no one says, oh, wow, I'm so happy. I read somewhere 25% of the people will never like you, even if you buy them flowers. 25% of the people like you, right? But they're going to try to find a way not to like you. 25% of the people will like you no matter what. And then 25% of the people are sort of in between, but they're still looking for ways not to like you. That's the reality is. Whoever is trying to bring you down is below you. And I think that's something that I've been teaching my clients all over the world and what to do. And it's frustrating. I'm not going to be honest. When you have a brand and people want to attack and the negative voices are always stronger than the positive people because positive people don't have time to be negative. They don't have time to go outside their way. But that's just part of being successful, and you have to accept it.
You mean you are referring to the Gt Foxx lawsuits?
Well, yeah. Listen, I just finished writing an article. I have a new book coming out. In fact, I'm proud to say that my new ebook on Amazon is #1 in the business education section, and that's a testament to the power of my brand. In 2 days, we started marketing it. We became #1 on Amazon. So in the business education, in terms of lawsuits, if you're not in business, you haven't been sued. Microsoft got sued 3,000 times a month. Walmart gets sued. Trump gets sued. Attorney generals. I got sued. But what we don't report is that I won. And that I didn't give in, and I didn't give in the money. And unfortunately, when you are a celebrity, people want to sue you. And I don't settle. I didn't back down. I fight for what I stand to believe. I've got a new blog post that's going to be launching sometime at the end of the week who's going to explain in detail because I'm tired of trying to defend myself for something I already won. And people keep reporting that. And so they're making it seem like, because someone filed a lawsuit, you can mention anything you want in the complaint. I can say to you, you are a rapist. And in the complaint, and the media can take that complaint and quote from that complaint and be completely legal. So you can make up anything and the media can report it because it's judicially protected. But to a lay person who doesn't know legal terminology, who doesn't know the inside of this, we go online, we see things, and immediately we point the finger. And that's not justified. But that's just part of business. My coach said to me, if you haven't been sued, you haven't done enough business.
So is it lonely at the top?
Very lonely. But you eat better. You eat better. But the thing is that, on days I feel amazing. I feel like I'm helping the world and I'm changing lives. And on other days, you wake up and you're like, what negativity am I going to get there? And I think the key, because I care. I'm a human being like everybody else. Nobody wants to be falsely attacked. Nobody wants to wake up like that. And so I think I've come to learn to just kind of, it is what it is. And And, I want everybody to like me. I want everybody to help everyone. I want to coach everybody. I want to help everybody change their lives. Unfortunately, there are people that are just not cut out for that. And it's easier to point the finger at somebody else than when you have three fingers pointing back at you.
You spend days after days giving coach trainings for free, and your attendants love it. You also have a proof of success tour around the world. It looks like a new religion you want to share. What is the most important message you are conveying to your students, which causes the most happiness amongst them?
Well, I created this proof of success tour, which is actually launching in Amsterdam for the first time, and then we're London, Copenhagen, all over the world. As I said, you know what? Here's the proof. Here are the lives I've changed. Here are the thousands of successful stories, and the proof is there. So let's stop talking about it and let me show you. Nothing is more powerful than the proof of success, and that's what I'm showing. A lot of people talk. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman. I teach things I did yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Every time I teach things that are differently. People say, oh, you're a speaker or a coach. I'm a serial entrepreneur first and foremost. I do real estate deals. I do buy companies. I grow companies. I start companies. And it's a lot of exciting things I'm going to be doing in the upcoming months, new companies I'm going to be announced. So I do the things that I have. And at the end of the day, for example, people say, why do you do it for free? For example, in Africa, I've got people that come to my events, thousands of people. And I'd say about 80% of the people will never be able to afford any of my products. I know that. They are poor black from townships. They probably took their last rand, which is the currency there, to come to my event. I know that. But who am I to deny someone who wants to take 5 taxis, what they call in Africa, buses, 6 hours to come to learn from me? Who am I to deny that? Now, there may have been the old JT would have been, oh, we can't make money, therefore we can't do that, which is normal. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. The new JT for the past couple of years says, listen, my business model is very simple, powered by your success. I believe I'm the world's #1 wealth coach. I'm very successful in business for one reason, because my clients are successful. I've got the proof. I've got the success, and I'm going to go on tour and show the people the exact examples. And that makes a very big difference.
Which message triggered your students the most? And what do people like to know?
Well, I think people like to know, a lot of times you go to events and it's the same thing. And I think what people like to know is strategy. They like learning about marketing, about the branding, about the relationship, about the coaching. They love when I do interaction live seats. And I think people like to know that I do things differently. I have a different approach of doing it. And obviously it's working because my businesses are doing very well and I'm doing very well and my clients are doing very well, most importantly.
You travel around the world. You're familiar with different countries and habits.
Yes.
How is Holland doing with branding?
Well, it first started really bad. I mean, it's still a problem in general. And I said, take your head off and you're too successful. They want to cut it off. But in the past year, I've had so many successful coaching clients. I mean, one of which is Eric Baker, small business. Next thing you know, put the belief in them. He's a global marketing company now, does business all over the world. There's a lot more examples of stories. And I think people just need to believe. And I think people in Holland have appreciated me because they believe that I care about them. And I've come back many times. I'm just not one of those speakers who came to Holland and left. I mean, I've been here 14 different times. I will continue to come. I love the Dutch people. I really do. I think Holland's one of my favorite countries, to be honest with you. I respect the people here. And I think I've inspired a movement. My events keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to be absolutely full tomorrow. And that's just a testament that I wouldn't be able to come back if I wasn't having success like I'm having.
You say Holland does need a hero. Are you the new hero for Holland?
Well, I tell people you need to think American, act Dutch. And when I think American, I'm talking about in terms of marketing, in terms of branding. You take a look at these companies, Apple, Google, Starbucks, eBay, Amazon. They're American companies. Everyone knows them because they're great at marketing. I mean, Apple is phenomenal. But you can't act American here in the Netherlands because it's not going to work. And so I think people need to think American, think marketing and branding, but act Dutch and not change who they are, not worry about what everybody else says. And a big thing that holds the Dutch people is fear. And fear is a choice. For example, when the World Cup was here, I mean, I was rooting for the Dutch. And so I've come to love and the people here have given me a fair shot, and I think I've proven myself, and that's the great part. I mean, we have Mega Partnering 9 coming next week with Al Pacino and Sylvester Stallone, 1,000 of the world's most successful people. We got a lot of people from the Netherlands coming. I brought a lot of the people in the Netherlands to Mega Partnering Africa too. So, I've inspired this country. As to say that I'm a hero here, well, because I'm American, although if you don't like Americans, I have a Canadian passport too, so just in case. But, I don't think I'm a hero. I think at the end of the day, I just want to inspire people. I want to keep on doing what I'm doing, and I like to win. I mean, and how I win is by creating more successful people. If I had to move anywhere in Europe, it'd definitely be here. And so people have asked me that question many times. Love the lifestyle, love the people, and I think sometimes it takes a leader, and a leader leads from the front, not the back. So lots of respect for this country.
Talking about the number one people you have met, what did you learn from your interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger or from the Oprah Winfrey Show? What is your drive to be the number one?
I think what I learned from Arnold Schwarzenegger was, first of all, he wanted to be the world's best bodybuilder, so he got himself a coach. He became number one. He then started doing properties to fund his acting dream. He got a coach. Then he wanted to be in acting. He got the best acting coach. And then he wanted to be a politician. He got the best coaches. And at the end of the day, Arnold has made a lot of money in business. And people think that he's just an actor. He's very entrepreneurial. I think this drive, same thing with Oprah and all those successful people, Mr. Trump, they have two desires. And I have the same thing. I think Steve Jobs had the same thing. Number one, how can I be number one? It doesn't mean you're going to be number one, but it's the culture you've set for your employees. It's a culture you set for yourself to say, am I giving my very best each and every time? And number two, how can I make this better? How can I make this product better? How can I make my show better? How can you make your show better? How can we create a better experience? How can I create my clients more successful? And I think that's the point. It's that constant obsession on making things better.
With sports, it's normal to have a coach. With business, it's new. Your coaching company, which is called Top One Coaching, charges €5,000 for 2 monthly sessions with a coach on Skype. What makes this money a good investment for a student or an entrepreneur?
Well, our packages go for anywhere from €5,000 to hundreds of thousands of euros, first of all. And I think the 5,000 does not include that. I think it's actually 8 for what you're talking about. But here's the thing. The Dutch national soccer team, could they have gone to the World Cup as far as they did by themselves? Why do they have a coach? To give them focus, to hold them accountable, to give them the vision, to push them, give them peak performance. When that call, and I think it was in the quarterfinals, where they took the goalie out and added the other goalie with 1 second left, that's a coaching decision. You make it, you're a hero, you're not, you're the bad guy. And coaches hold us accountable. The problem in business is that we have this thing where I don't want to work for anyone, I want to do it myself. I mean, you take a look at it. Athletes have coaches, military have coaches, a lot of CEOs are coached themselves. Great business people have coaches as well. No one could do it by yourself. You see, we see the world like this. And what our coaches allows us is to see the world like this. It takes someone sometimes on the outside to see what you're doing in order to help you better.
Are you not afraid of educating your future competitors with your own acquired knowledge?
Good point. But my coach said to me, strategic thinking is the gateway to innovation. And by that, he meant, for example, Apple put on there and Samsung came. Samsung gained some great market share. Now Apple came up with the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. Should have came up with a bigger screen before. I think competitors push us to become better. I think the world's big enough for everyone. I mean, there's billions of people on this planet. And I think sometimes when there's someone either in front of you or behind you, it pushes you to succeed. And so I'm not worried about it because I'm going to keep changing and innovating. What works today won't work 6 months from now. I've seen a lot of people come and go, and I'm still standing. So obviously I've been doing something right.
Richard Branson Shirley was not happy that he taught some people how to run business. He found out that they became his competitors.
Well, yeah, but so Richard's worth $6 billion. So I've spent a lot of time at Necker Island. I don't think Richard is more involved about changing this planet now. And I think if someone could go out there and beat them, Richard would probably say, we should have done something better. So I don't think Richard would be so much offended about it. Now, Mr. Trump, he might be offended if someone taught him and went back after them. But that would probably push him to go that. But, as competitors, Michael Jordan, the basketball player, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, I was watching an interview on the plane coming here, and he's driven. You need that enemy. You need that competition. And you need someone to push you forward. For some people, it's fear. For other people, it's another business. For other people, it's their past. Everyone has different reasons why they do the things they have. But, I always tell people success is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice.
And now, a question of one of your students. China, India, and South Africa are upcoming economies. What do you think? Is Europe, with the expensive euro, losing its power?
I don't think Europe is losing power. I mean, it's still first world countries. It's still a great economy. I mean, there's issues in and obviously Italy still, and Portugal and Spain. But you take a look at the Netherlands. They didn't really suffer the meltdown that they did when the economy crash came in. The problem with the Netherlands was the failure to innovate. You want to talk about getting better? They got too comfortable. That's when Germany plowed ahead in just about everything. And so I think the Dutch can't be afraid to get out of their comfort level. If you take a look at the Chinese and India, both places I've been in the last month to do business, and they're like, what do I need to get better? It doesn't matter how much it costs, it's how much it's going to make me. So they're investing in their education, they're investing in their business, they're investing to become better. If you stay the same, you become too uncomfortable and your business starts going down. To become successful, you have to be uncomfortable. And I think people have to become uncomfortable in order to succeed. And so South Africa is a third world country, even though it's got first-rate people. So there's still challenges over there. I think the future is in Africa. I think the future is in India. I think the future is in China. But at the end of the day, it's about creating your own economy. It doesn't matter where you go. There are opportunities everywhere.
What do you think of the role that the banks in Europe played during the crisis?
Well, everyone hates a bank until you need the money. And so, unfortunately, when the crisis came, banks got bailed out and the people didn't get bailed out. So the banks are now doing very well, making billions of dollars of profits. And there's still Americans, Europeans, and other places of the world that have not recovered. That's unfair. There's this knowledge of too big to fail. Well, I think part of the reasons why they survive is because they have relationships. They have the marketing, they have the branding, and I think at the end of the day, they position themselves. It's in business, not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. The little guy always seems to be left out. It's David versus Goliath. I mean, I've got my new book that's going to be coming out sometime in November called Millionaire Underdog. And at the end of the day, we're all the underdog. At the end of the day, against the world, against big businesses. But I can't worry about what happens with the banks, and I think none of us should worry about what happens to the bank, because at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do to change it. It's like it's hard sometimes to change government. You just kind of accept it, and you have your vote, and if you win, you win. If you don't, then you accept it. So I respect the voice of the people. I don't always agree with the choices of who the people vote in. But I think that's the right of the people. And here's the thing. If 51% of the people like you, you're president of the United States. Now think about that. That means 49% of the people don't like you, don't believe in you, and don't think you're the right man for the job. So, name me one company where you got 100% satisfaction. Name me one company where everyone loves one person. It's humanly impossible. And I think we have to start accepting that.
If you were the president of Europe, what is the first thing you would do?
Did I get voted in, or did I become a dictator coming in? But I think first thing I would do, countries are built around fundamentals of, number one, entrepreneurism. I think what makes America the country it is today, small business. We need more small business programs. We need to encourage. If you encourage small business hire people. And I think that's a big way. I hate to say this, but I always thought that if countries were run like a business, then it would be better off. The problem is countries are not run like business, because you got social interest groups and you got this and it's political and it's that. If it doesn't work and the numbers don't work, then we can't do it and we can't make everybody happy. So the first thing would be run it like a business. A lot of people make fun that Mr. Trump would become president. It'd be interesting because at the end of the day, he knows how to get things done. And would he piss off a lot of people in the world? Probably, but he'd get things done. And I think we need to get things done. America's in gridlock now. People now, the hope that Obama provided now has turned to a disdain, a low 40% approval rates. In Europe, I think we need to kickstart. We need to create more jobs. We need to have more small businesses. There needs to be more manufacturing. I think you need to stabilize. You need to go out there and clean these banks, set up standards that are fair, but that are going to give lending to people. And I think business is what drives everything. Unfortunately, business is what drives everything. And when you think of Europe, you don't think of business. You really don't. You think of business, you think of America, you think of China, you're starting to think other parts of the world. And I think we need to become an entrepreneur. I think we need to support women more. I think women are 65% of all women in America in business are now women. Fastest growing segment. I think women are amazing at business. Marissa Mayer at Yahoo, Meg Whitman at HP, CEO of Pepsi's a woman. Women are taking over. And so I think we need to inspire more women out there. I also think we need to have a plan for our youth. I mean, part of the problem in France and in Paris is all this youth, and they feel like, look, Paris is in shambles right now. France is in shambles. It's a nightmare what they've had because they haven't run it like a business. A lot of failed promises and things like that. So we need to focus on our youth and inspire them. And we can't just say, go start a business or get a job. And I think we got to keep asking ourselves, how can we improve the education standards of people and the quality of life? And also too, I mean, obviously environmental or issues. If you'd asked me 2 years ago, I'd probably say, global warming, this and that. But the planet is obviously changing, climate is changing, and I think we need to start focusing also on future generations and not say, well, it's not my problem, this generation. I think we have this responsibility as human beings of making this planet a better place than when you first got here. I've had a chance to talk to Richard Branson about global warming and talk to some top experts, Dr. Oxford, and there's definitely some evidence of things that are wrong. Obviously, there's some things that are both ways, but the problem, climate is changing. The coldest winter we've had last year ever. You have floods, you have more tornadoes, you have typhoons. Something is obviously going on, receding oceans, and so we need to protect our environment. And also, too, we need to figure our elders who've paved the way are taken care of, because if people retire right now, they don't have enough money to live with the same standard of living. If you live till 85, your kids are going to have to support you rather than you actually inheriting to your kids and your grandkids. So we need to figure out a plan. People are working longer than they ever did. Things are expensive in Europe. In Europe, it's going to get more expensive. So there's a lot of issues. And there's a lot of work to be done. But like I said, we all need to step in, and we can't just say, well, I don't like politics, I'm not involved. I think that it's just about making our communities better. All it takes is one person, one deal, and one opportunity to change your life. And I think people have to take a responsibility that, they came to this world, and it's not a right to be born, it's a privilege.
Movie star Arnold Schwarzenegger is in politics. Ronald Reagan even became president. They can be named as number ones. Will we be able to see you becoming a politician in the future?
The problem, I'm a businessman. Would I love to be in politics and change the world at some point? Perhaps. But what are people going to say? Oh, is Gt Foxx real my name? They'll bring up some bogus lawsuits I won. So the same questions you're asking me, how many times am I going to have to deal with those same questions? And people say, for example, when someone doesn't do something, they'll say it's a scam, even though that it's not a scam. I didn't do anything wrong. So people are just going to attack me no matter what. And do I want to subject myself to that attack so I can make 100 euros a year? Probably not. And so I'd rather contribute to political parties. I'd rather get involved in charities of sick children and all over the world. Nelson Mandela Foundation, Virgin Unite, St. Jude's Children's Hospital. I want to make this planet a better place than when I first got here. And then here's the issue too. I mean, the theme of being number one. I was born in Canada, live in the United States now. I can't be president. And if there was a possibility of me being president, see, Arnold messed it up for me. You see what I mean? He was on track to become president, and all this nonsense came down. But I can't be president, and I'd want the top job. And policy is very political. It's never, you go with the intention of changing Washington, and does really anything ever change? It's only a campaign slogan. So would I? Yes. Will I? No. For the following reasons. Same questions you ask. I just could not go through another, is Gt Foxx my real name?
Would you also be able to give our Minister President, Mark Rutte, some advice on how to guide Holland out of the crisis?
Well, first of all, I would never go to someone, your Prime Minister, who's very respected, to say, I have advice for you. And I think even if she was watching this, she probably wouldn't care. But I think a lot of the issues we talked about, I think if the advice I'd have is the more we empower small business. I mean, it's very hard to fire people here in Holland. It's people have this productivity issue here. There's a lot of businesses like that. And I think we need to listen to the business leaders in the community, because that's what drives Holland. And when you do business in Europe, you don't just do business in Holland, you do business all over. And I think we need to foster our entrepreneurial programs I talked about. And And I would say sometimes it's a bit unpopular, but I would run this country like a business. And you can't do everything, and sometimes you have to cut where you have to cut. But over the long term, to make this country a superpower, like it has the opportunity, it has amazing people. Just this interview is the Dutch are fair. I mean, if this was an interview in another country, they might go more on the attack, which is fine because I'm used to it and I'm actually quick on my feet. But I think people are eager to learn. I think they're scared, and fear is a choice. And I think we just got to rally and say, okay, what do we need to do to bring Holland to greatness? And I think everyone needs to be on board with the message. And I think the Dutch people will respond. I think we just need a plan. If you ask me what the plan is right here in the crisis, I don't think anybody knows. I think there's a lot of talk. Talk is cheap. You make a lot of money in business by solving problems and find solutions. You want to make Holland great? Let's solve some problems and find some solutions. And I would be more than happy to give my time for free to help this country, to talk to any government official, to talk to the prime minister and say, listen, how do we bring business leaders community, get them in a room together and find some solutions and let the people be on board? Because if the people together are not on board with the message, then, it's like at the top, you have this vision. If the people at the bottom don't follow the message, it's never going to happen. But, this country, I feel like it's home, and anything I can do to help get it out of the crisis, which I think in terms of empowering entrepreneurs, helping them make successful, I am. But I will always be available and anytime to help entrepreneurs, women, youth, small business, big businesses. At the end of the day, that's what I do.
What is Gt Foxx doing after 40 years? How will he be remembered?
Well, if you'd asked me if I'd be interviewed 2 years ago on a top Dutch show about my success in business, I would have been, what do you mean? It would be virtually impossible. I think at the end of the day, I want to be known. I always tell people, listen, if you were born broke, it's not your fault. If you die broke, it's your fault. And I want to be that person that, they call me the next billionaire. It seems to be an article that came out, the next billionaire. And I don't want to be someone who made $1 billion. I want to be known as someone who helped millions of people, get what they want. And I think that's the satisfaction. Money doesn't drive me. People say, what are you going to do with your first $1 billion? I say, I'm going to give it to charity. I mean, that's kind of the same thing with Richard Branson and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, philanthropic investing. I think at the end of the day, I truly want to leave a legacy. And if everything ever happened to me, and this is the last interview I ever did, or someone looks at this, I want them to know that I made a difference in people's lives. And I know I have. And to me, that's important. But when I had no money, it's all about the money. But now that I have a lot of money and I've had a lot of success and I've been all over the world, it's, how will Gt Foxx be remembered? I want to be remembered as someone who made a difference in people's lives. Nobody remembers how much money you make. I think they remember the contribution you make to society. And if someone comes and says to me, you know what, you made a big difference in Holland, you made a difference in India and China and America and Canada and Africa and South Africa, and that's my legacy, then you know what, I've done a good job. And someone at my age, still very young, I've accomplished more and by the time I was 30 than most people have in their entire lives times 10. And I'm just relentless. And I wouldn't say people say you're a workaholic. When you love what you do, is it really work? Work is going in and hitting traffic and hating what you're doing. Waking up every morning with the passion, knowing you're making this planet a better place than when you first got here. That's truly passion. That's truly love what you do.